Hello, and welcome to our Cat 5 building system presentation. We are presenting you today a building system that offers smart solutions for all building zones affected by earthquakes, hurricanes, and floods. We regretfully have to start with images of the consequences left behind by Hurricane Maria here in Puerto Rico in 2017. On your left, we see blown away roofs due to the high winds, and on your right, houses affected by the floods. A lot of these houses couldn't be saved due to permanent structural damage. We skip now to the earthquakes of January 2020. The slide shows a typical poured-in-place roof which collapsed on the walls of the building. These types of roof are very heavy because they are made of poured-in-place concrete and rebar, becoming a great threat to the families that live under them. The threat becomes even worse by water cisterns weighing hundreds of extra pounds that are usually placed on top of the roofs. In August 2021, a 7.2 magnitude earthquake happened in Haiti, 11 years after the magnitude 7 earthquake, which killed over 300,000 people. This time, in 2021, 2,189 lives were taken. Again, the poured-in-place concrete roofs, which are too heavy for the wall structures, seem to be the main cause of the failures. How many people would have survived if they'd used the Cat 5 lightweight insulated roofs? We can see in the image on the top left all the earthquakes that took place in January 2020. On your right, the top 10 strongest earthquakes that happened in Puerto Rico from 2010. Outlined are the ones that reached higher than 6 in magnitude. When will the next one happen? Will it be worse? Puerto Rico is on the Caribbean fault line. Regretfully, it's only a matter of time before it happens again. Therefore, the municipal and CDBG rebuilding process should predict the inevitable future quakes and build back better, stronger, resilient, and sustainable buildings to protect their inhabitants. Houses were destroyed by the heavy weight of their roofs. The walls collapsed because of the lack of strong structure and elasticity. There are few structural elements included in standard construction that can absorb some of the seismic event shocks. Standard-built structures cannot withstand high wind speeds. A lot of materials used in standard homes deteriorate with water penetration, compromising the home structure. All of these shortfalls in standard construction cost lives, as sadly we all know. But all of these things are avoidable if we build back better using Cat 5 building systems. We strongly believe the municipalities and builders should build back better and greener in accordance with President Biden's policy and use our Cat 5 building systems to do that which add no additional cost to construction. We can help design to build back better homes that are not only safer for our families and resilient to Mother Nature, but also faster to build, sustainable, greener, with products that are locally made. Why are they better, safer for our families, and resilient to Mother Nature? Our Cat 5 building systems work with lightweight internal non-load bearing walls. We also use lightweight roofs that, if they were to collapse, are very unlikely to kill anyone. Our 33% larger and 100% stronger blocks filled with rebar, concrete, and structural foam provides elasticity to the walls to ensure that during a seismic event it has a minimal effect on the home structure. We use materials that dry fast and don't grow any mold. They are also insect repellent. Blocks that can easily be engineered for 200 plus mile per hour winds. Our blocks set to a minimum of 3,500 psi, twice that of a typical 6-inch Puerto Rican block. And a structure coat that is used for the outside and inside of the external walls that sets to a minimum of 5,000 psi, waterproofing the walls and making them very strong and very resilient. They are faster to build. We color code our cement block red, black, and gray to ensure that they can easily be built by unskilled labor following our Lego-type construction pictures. We install conduit in the block walls so the walls are erected, ready for the first fix of electric and plumbing. The walls are dry stacked between bonding beams, meaning no mortar is placed between the blocks to level them, making the wall much stronger. The walls go up in less than half the time of a normal CMU system. We use our Cat 5 structural insulated panels, SIPs, both for the internal walls and for the roofs. For the roof, we use a concrete board and our Intertech fiberglass fireproof skin. They are very easily erected, normally covering the roof in a day or less. The internal SIP panels are made in our factory as a complete wall. We can even pre-hang the doors and fit conduit inside them for the first fix of electric and plumbing. CDBG R3 program is regretfully taking a long time to rebuild the homes destroyed by Hurricane Maria in September 2017. There are currently 55 or more home designs used in the CDBG R3 program. Having set up operations in Puerto Rico over the last 45 months and learned about the problems affecting the R3 program, we feel there's an urgent need to standardize all home designs in order to be able to build volume homes quickly that comply with a Build Back Better and Greener. We also need to standardize all materials used in the construction cycle and pre-order them. If we don't do this, the materials for the homes are likely to get into short supply and the home construction will take longer to finish. We construct energy-efficient houses using modern building systems with R30 or more in the walls and a minimum of R20 in the roof as standard. This type of insulation creates quieter, much cooler, and greener houses, complying with all current building codes. We can use our unbreakable Cat5 fiberglass solar panels, which can provide families with basic power of at least a minimum 3 kilowatt system. There's also a need for rainwater harvesting to conserve water. We place our cistern tanks in the ground, not on the roof, because the weight of the water in the tank on a typical roof is dangerous during earthquakes, hurricanes, or tornadoes. Our blocks, SIPs, solar panels, and the rest of our products are made in Puerto Rico. Let's take now a closer look to our locally made components and the way they work as part of an intelligent, engineered building system. There are 6 types of concrete color-coded blocks used in the Cat5 wall system, which are twice as strong and 33% bigger than the typical Puerto Rican-made 6-inch block. This is because our blocks set to a minimum of 3,500 psi, whereas the standard blocks made in Puerto Rico set to half of that. Our blocks don't require any additional internal installation, such as wood, fiberglass, or sheetrock. They have a 4-hour fire burn time. They can withstand sustained winds over 200 miles per hour, seismic events, storm surge, and flooding. They dry quickly after a fire and are mold-free. They are also insect-proof. They're green-friendly, performing better than a conventional wall system at R30+, reducing the size of the cooling and heating systems. They have a very high sound tolerance. They're extremely durable and cost-competitive. In the following animation, you will see how the blocks are used as a part of the Cat5 wall system. The first thing we do is to drill holes in the house slab where the rebar is to be positioned, and we then fill those holes with an epoxy and then place in the vertical rebar. We then place a membrane between the rebar to stop any future rising damp in the wall. We then cover the membrane with concrete. Now is the time to place the first course of block over the concrete, as shown in the pictures of the wall which the construction crews follow. We make sure that the first course of block is perfectly level by adding additional concrete or placing metal shims under the block. We then drop in the horizontal rebar into the front V-slot and fill the first course of block completely with concrete, vibrating any air out. After the first course is dry, we then dry stock the block system up to the black bonding beam typically used in the 7th course. We can also place conduit in the block walls as the wall is being built and pull the conduit up through the wall whenever there is an electrical or plumbing outlet. We build the block typically up to the 6th course of block. At that stage, we stop ready to place in the bonding beam. We then pour our 3,500 psi Cat5 mortar mix into the cells that contain vertical rebar, and we then vibrate any air bubbles out, thus making the cells into a perfect column. When this is done, we place a membrane over the top of the 6th course. We then place concrete over the top of the membrane. Now it's time to start putting the U black block over the concrete, which re-levels the wall just like we did in the first course of block. We make sure the U beam is perfectly level. We then drop in horizontal rebar and tie in the next 5 feet of vertical rebar, normally using a wire gun. Again, we pull the conduit up, ready for the next courses of block. We recheck the wall to make sure it's still perfectly level. We then pour concrete into the black U-beam and vibrate it to form a perfect horizontal column. Now it is time to drill holes on the outside of the wall in the second course of block and on the inside of the wall in the positions where there is no vertical rebar or conduit. You will notice the electrical outlet already in the wall. We fill the holes we drill with our closed cell foam that expands in the wall, filling all of the cells in the wall that don't contain rebar or concrete. The foam oozes out of any cracks and gives the wall a minimum R value of R30. The foam is a structural component of the wall system and holds the wall together during seismic events. This is a cross-section of a block filled with our closed cell foam. As you can see, the middle wall has EPS foam on either side of it. Surface bonding concrete goes over both sides of the block, and that is then painted. Our surface bonding concrete sets to 5,000 psi. There's no drywall, fiberglass, or wood used in our wall system, so if the wall system gets flooded, it will just dry out and not grow any mold. The wall can easily be engineered for wind speeds of over 200 miles an hour and is perfect for seismic areas. This shows the minimal thermal path through the block, which is indirect because of the web's design at the bottom of the first wall of the block to the middle wall, and also from the middle wall to the inner wall. This significantly increases the time it takes for heat or cold to pass through the block. As you have seen in the previous animation, the Cat5 foam fills up the walls where there is no concrete. By adding the foam, we increase the thermal insulation to R30+. We significantly increase the sound insulation, and also we add strength to the wall. The foam holds the wall together during an earthquake. This way, the wall may crack, but it will not fall down. In the following video, we put a wall together without any rebar and without any concrete, holding it together only with a closed cell foam. The next video will show you exactly what happened when we lifted the wall up and dropped it.
Okay?
This is our roof system. Our structural insulated panels are composed of a 5/8" concrete board on the top, which has a 2-hour fire burn rating. In the middle, 6 inches of foam R22. Then our 1-hour fire rated fiberglass skin on the bottom of our SIP. The SIPs are laid over the C-beams and then bolted into the beams using coach bolts. We finish the job with a membrane. The SIPs are very strong and can be made up to 12 inches thick, giving an insulation factor of R50 for the roof. We recommend laying our Cat5 fiberglass solar panels on top of the roof, giving the home a minimum of 3 kilowatts of power for emergency use and power after and during a storm or blackout. Our Cat5 internal SIPs are factory-made walls that go up in a matter of minutes and make the room super silent. They are made from 4-inch EPS foam sandwiched between our Intertech fiberglass skin. The skin is food grade and has a 1-hour fire burn. We can make them up to 16 feet long and up to 10 feet high. We can pre-hang the doors on the wall system, and we can put in the first fixed conduit for plumbing and electric so that it's already in the wall with the cutouts for the electric and plumbing boxes. They are lightweight and flexible, keeping families safe in the event of an earthquake. During a storm event, glass panels break. This is what happened to the typical solar panels during Maria in 2017. Our new M4 solar panels are made of fiberglass, making them unbreakable. You can easily walk over them for maintenance purposes, so it's very unlikely one has to ever replace a panel. Even if it gets hit by storm debris, it will only break that part of the cell that gets hit. The rest of the cell and the rest of the panel will carry on working as normal. We make them up to 20 feet long, and we put the stringing inside of the panels to minimize the use of conduit, which can be blown off during a storm event if they were put outside in conduit, which is done for glass panels. We string them in threes, so therefore you have 1,200 watts per string. They can provide a minimum of 3 kilowatts of power for day-to-day use, and will still be there after a storm, and will provide emergency power during a blackout. They can be mounted vertically or horizontally with no racking needed. The solar panels, as well as the other major components, are made in Puerto Rico. In this case, the factory is located in Villalba. We can also use closed-cell foam to protect the slab and the foundations in seismic areas. We first drill 3 feet holes in the soil, suitably spaced within the foundation. In each hole, we then install a plastic PVC pipe that is then injected with Cat 5 foam. In the case of a seismic event, the plastic pipes will absorb the Earth's vibrations, minimizing the stress on the walls or the foundations. We supply for each home design a 3D Lego type of model. We take pictures of the 4 walls as well as the inside walls so that the unskilled construction crews can follow the on-site Lego pattern, just like children do when building a Lego model. Therefore, it's almost impossible to position a block in the wrong place. If, however, it does happen, the inspector or supervisor can easily see if the unskilled labor has put all the blocks in the correct places before the concrete is poured. Working in this way, 1 supervisor is needed for every 3 to 5 nearby homes. As a result of the smart system of building, a typical R3 home's walls can go up in 200 man-hours using unskilled labor and with a first fix of electrical and plumbing already in place. The roof C-beams and SIPs go up in about 80 man-hours, including positioning the C-beams so that the home is ready to start the finishes without any props being used for the walls or for the roof. So it's ready to fit out and in dry working conditions. The inside and outside structure goes up in about 80 man-hours, ready for painting after the windows are fitted. The internal walls go up in about 40 man-hours using unskilled labor, and not only the first fix of electrical and plumbing will already be in place, but also the holes cut for the electrical boxes. We can also hang the internal doors in the factory if required. No props are used in any part of our building structures, meaning immediate access is given to fit out the home's inside. All Cat 5 homes under 1,200 feet, single story, should be finished in 45 to 60 days after the slab has been poured. This compares to the average time taken to build an R3 home currently of 123 days, meaning that contractors can build twice or triple the number of homes in the same time it takes to build one traditionally, doubling their profits. This is a finished home in Orlando that was built using our Cat 5 blocks and other materials. This is a finished Cat 5 3-bedroom home. Each of the Cat 5 homes, 2, 3, or 4 bedrooms, has a private courtyard. The home has structural foam in all of its walls. It has EPS in the roof, so it's extremely lightweight and ideal for seismic events as well as for hurricanes and tornadoes. Each home comes with a solar water heater, and the solar panels are at an extra cost. We have 2 cistern tanks of 1,500 gallons at the end of the driveway, one for rainwater harvesting and the other for public utility water. In the event the house gets flooded, it will just dry out. This shows a furnished home with 3 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms and a private courtyard. The next 3 slides show the standard Cat 5 home. The same lot size, 40 feet by 75 feet, can be used to build a 2-bedroom, a 3-bedroom, or a 4-bedroom house. This presentation is a 2-bedroom transforming into a 3-bedroom and then into a 4-bedroom home. This slide shows all of the different departments that get involved in the construction of a building under the R3 program. We have a $100 million revolving construction line of credit for use by the general contractors with any government-funded project. They can draw 85% of total costs. We work with the GCs via a lockbox, and we supply 85% of the costs, including labor, via a 90-day interest-free loan with all monies flowing via the lockbox. We are happy to describe this in more detail on a one-to-one basis. We strongly believe that Puerto Rico should build back better and greener. And our Cat 5 system is not only a safer way of doing it, but also a quicker and a more profitable way for the builders. Our award-winning design allows us to standardize the full construction cycle, guaranteeing a predictable, steady rhythm of construction, boosting the local economy by producing quality jobs and trainings in every part of the production chain, and with a solid line of funding to make it all happen. This is the end of our presentation. We truly appreciate your attention. If you would like to have a closer look at our products, you can visit our website. If you would like to contact us, we will be happy to reply to your message. Stay safe.